Hello, and welcome to Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Shawne and Tracy. I am Shawne,
And I'm Tracy.
and we are talking to you all that are 50 and fabulous.
And don't forget handsome.
And we want you to know that we want to get some education happening,
Yes.
some empowerment.
We want to grow with you. We want to learn with you. We want to see what you're doing, 50 and over.
So like, share, comment, follow, subscribe,
Grab your
and
tea.
grab your tea. All right, all right. We're gonna do our breathing, and we're gonna
Yes.
read our devotional, and then we'll have here's the tea.
Just a quick little,
Just a
here's the
quick.
in
Yes,
honor
yes.
of our guest that we had on today.
Yes, that we have. So I have stress away.
Let's stress it
And
away.
do our breathing.
Thank you.
Woke up this morning a little frazzled.
It's okay. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
All right. So stress away, it does just that. So we're gonna do our deep breathing. Inhaling our intent for today's conversation. And exhaling what doesn't serve us. That's two. We're going to do one more.
Yes, yes, yes.
Remember, doing that brings your cortisol level down and your heart rate if you're nervous and you're rushing. Yeah, that's what that does. So today's devotional, I'm reading out of Jesus is Calling, Enjoying Peace in His Presence. And it's March 17th. It says, "Come to me for understanding, since I know you far better than you know yourself. I comprehend you in all your complexities. No detail of your life is hidden from me. I view you through eyes of grace, so you don't be afraid of my intimate awareness. Allow the light of my healing presence to shine into the deepest recesses of your being, cleansing, healing, refreshing, and renewing you. Trust me enough to accept the full forgiveness that I offer you continually. The great gift which cost me my life is yours for all eternity. Forgiveness is at the very core of my abiding presence. I will never leave you or forsake you. When no one else seems to understand you, simply draw closer to me. Rejoice in the one who understands you completely and loves you perfectly. As I fill you with my love, you become a reservoir of love, overflowing into the lives of other people. That comes from Psalms 139, 1 to 4, 2 Corinthians 1, 21 and 22, and Joshua 1, 5.
Mhm.
Amen, amen, amen.
As usual, focus on him, and
As-
he's always there.
He's always there.
We tend to forget about him, but he stays by our side. So we have to remember that.
Yes.
And I'm talking to myself when I say that.
That's all right. That's all right. We all talking to ourselves, but I hope you all get some feeling of peace when we're reading these devotionals and
Yes.
affirmations and things like that. All right, so give us the tea.
Yeah, here's the tea. A little tea, based off of what our conversation, we're still talking about women and things and how wonderful we are.
Yeah. We gotta talk to the
We
camera.
we just want to say, one thing that I did a little bit of research, and we talked earlier about women being in the military, and fun fact is women have been in the military for many, many years. And when I say that, it says the U.S. military, women have been in the U.S. military since inception. It says George Washington employed a woman spy. No one knows who she
really?
was, what color she was. We just know that he sent a woman into, but
Shut up, Sean.
yeah. But the here's the tea is the first black woman to enlist in the U.S. Army was Kathy Williams, and it says under the is that Syndrome William Kathy, like it was her name was backwards, Kathy Williams, but then it says
In 1886. I mean,
Yeah.
1866.
1866 But it looks like to me, and
What's
and under the
I can't see.
syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
William Kathy.
Okay.
So it looks like they flipped her name around. Don't ask me. Oh, they probably flipped it around to make people think it
Make
was
you
a man.
yeah, probably.
Hmm.
You see how they
See
used
that
to do
there?
stuff,
Yeah.
messing
First
with our
black woman was
heads.
her name was Kathy Williams. They
Mm-hmm.
flipped it to say William
Williams,
in
Kathy.
1986. So I just wanted to say here's the T because we have been there since day one.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when we talk about the military, the first thing we think about is men.
Mm-hmm.
So don't forget, we are powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Another here's the T is it looks like I think the statistics was taking. I don't have an exact date, but in the military, we represent almost 30% women of color. And that's just black women.
Mm-hmm.
Another 22% is Hispanic. And so as I'm looking at this, we probably represent a good
50%.
50%
Mm-hmm.
of women of color.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I just wanted to, like I said, say here's the T and just give a little bit of knowledge that we're out there and we're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
And we can do anything.
we put our mind to.
Yes. And please don't forget that.
Yes.
Please don't
yes.
forget that.
All right. All right.
Yes.
All right. Well, we will
Go ahead.
start our conversation with Miss Susan.
Yes, Miss Susan Trawick, she's coming up. She's my cousin, and enjoy the conversation.
Yes.
Take some questions. Send us some comments. Let us know what you want to hear more of, and want us to expand on.
Yes.
But always, thank you for listening.
Yes. And follow us on Instagram, Tea and Cornbread on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
All righty. All right. Yay.
Thank you.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Tea and
Yes.
Cornbread.
Happy day, people.
I am your host, Shawne,
And I am Tracy.
and we are excited today again
Yes.
with another exciting
Special guest.
Yes. You know, in honor of Women's Month, even though 80-90% of our people are women that we
That's okay.
interview.
That's okay.
But we have a special guest today, and Miss Susan
Yes.
Trawick. I'm so excited to hear your story, and we're going to turn it over to Miss Tracy to introduce you, and then we'll just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad to be here.
Well, yes, welcome. She's a special guest because guess what? She's my cousin. Yeah. So today, as Shawne just said, we are talking about women and all the things that we do. Wonderful women. My cousin Susan was in the service. She was a major. She has an extensive bio. So some of the things I'm just going to briefly touch upon, and then I'm going to let her pick up from there. As well, you don't know, she was born and raised here in Waterbury. She attended Wilby High School. She enlisted in the United States Army in 1980. She was a distinguished honor graduate of personal action class at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. She advanced into individual training for Fort Benjamin and Harrison. She was stationed in Leavenworth in 1981. For the next 2 years, she was in Germany, where she spent 2 years working as the 574th Personal Service Company, 3rd Army Division. She returned and she continued, and she was in active service public office 76th Division in West Hartford. I'm going to stop right there. I know that she's a mom, an auntie, and like I said, she's a great big cousin. So elaborate a little bit more on your career, how it got started, and honestly, what drew you to go into the service?
Okay, first she said I'm a big cousin. I'm sure she meant
Older. I did. And honestly, that was what I was supposed to say in my head, but that didn't come out my mouth. She's right. She's my older cousin, but you can't tell.
No, you can't.
She looks
no, you can't.
fabulous.
Yes, absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Well, I decided to go into the military. Basically, it was in college. My roommate and I, we were going to drop out of college, and we were going to go in on the Buddy Buddy program, which they had back then in the 1970s. We went down to the recruiting station, but we chickened out and we stayed in school. So that was good. She went on to get married, and then I went into the military.
Okay.
And I don't regret it at all. Okay, so I was on active duty for 4 years, and I went in as an enlisted person even though I had already graduated and got my degree.
Okay.
Because normally, you can go in, if you have a degree, you could go in as a commissioned officer.
Okay.
But I went in as an enlisted person because, unfortunately, sitting there in the living room, and my mother asked the recruiter, since I had a degree, if I could go in as a commissioned officer, and they said no, which wasn't true.
Oh,
So
wow.
they have quotas to make, as far as recruiting people. So I would definitely tell people to do your research before going into
Okay.
the military. Okay, so I went in, and I went in because I wanted to serve our country, and plus I had two brothers that were in the military, so I was kind of following
Following them.
following
Right.
in their footsteps. But they went into the Air Force, and I went into the Army. Had something a little more challenging. So, and after being in the military for 4 years active duty, I was stationed at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, for my basic training and my AIT, Advanced Individual Training. And as Tracy said, I was the Distinguished Honor Graduate there. Very competitive in my earlier years. Okay. And from there, I went to, let's see, after Fort Jackson, I was stationed at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Okay. And then they sent me overseas to Germany, which didn't sit well with me because I was very close to my mother, a mama's girl. So that was pretty difficult. But after being there for like 6 months, I had to come home. That was the first time I had ever been that far away from my
wow.
family. And it took a little adjusting. And once I got to come home on leave for 2 weeks, and then I went back, I felt better. So,
You adjusted.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So what was your specialty once you went through the training and you sent? Because I'm not sure, but I think some go into the military and then they find their niche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what was your specialty when you were?
I went in as a personnel action specialist, and that's exactly what it is, personnel. I did dealt with everything personnel, personnel files, records, things like that. And once I did that, I got out after 4 years, and I joined the reserves,
Okay.
the active reserves. And my superior officers there in West Hartford, once they found out that I had a degree and things like that, they wanted to know why I wasn't an officer. And I guess I displayed officer qualities.
Absolutely.
They suggested that I go to
As you should.
officers candidate school, which I did,
Okay.
which was locally here in Connecticut, in Niantic, the Army National Guard. They have a program. So I went there. I got my commission, and then I went back to my unit in West Hartford.
So what was when you say I got my commission? What was that?
A second lieutenant.
Okay. And what did that mean?
It meant that I was a commissioned officer, which is above the enlisted grade individuals, which I was. When I went in, even though I had a degree, what they did was let me go in as a private first class, because most people start off as a private E1. I started off as a private E3 because I had a degree already.
And what was your degree in?
Communications.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Nice. 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 So when you were in, like, tell me you retired from the military, or did you
Yes.
stay in like
Yes.
your whole career?
I retired. Well, I did 4 years active duty where I went every day, as a regular job. Then I got out and I became a reservist, active reservist, where I went one weekend a month and 2 weeks active duty a year. So I did that for 20 years.
Okay.
So I have basically 24 years of service.
service.
And once you go that route, you don't retire and get the pension until you're 60 years old. And I
It's all
No,
right because you can't
no.
tell. It's,
What-
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to take a step back and say, how was it being one, a woman of color in the service, and being a woman, two things, woman, and then being one of color. How was that experience?
Okay, well, sometimes it was difficult, and other times it wasn't. You know, they've always had women in the military doing something. You know, being a nurse or something like that, wax and waves, things like that. I did encounter a few challenges with men, you know, that don't like to have women.
As their superiors?
I think that was.
Exactly.
I think that was the reason why they didn't put you in the right
Mm.
place when you first
Exactly.
enlisted.
But you know, there were, like I said, there were a few challenges, and I was able to overcome them. You know, there's been plenty of times when, you know, I've seen officers talk to people and, you know, put them in their place, things like that. I had to do that a couple of times, but, you know, I didn't do it in front of a lot of
Right,
people.
right.
You know,
Because you had class.
you know. Well,
You were raised right.
Uh,
And so,
Go ahead.
okay. So when going through these challenges and things like that, and as the years go by, did you notice there were more women enlisting? Did you have anything to do with like guiding or mentoring?
Recruiting 'em.
Yeah, recruiting or anything like that. And if so, how was that when it came to women, and specifically Black women?
Yeah.
okay, I didn't do any recruiting of any women, but if people had children that were interested in the military, sometimes they, you know, bring them to me and let me talk to them, things like that. And I tell them my experiences, but I don't usually tell people what to do. You know,
Right.
yes, you should go. No, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just, you know, explain my experiences. And as far as women, um, in my reserve center, I think there was only one other Black officer besides myself, and there were quite a few enlisted people. And we also had a female command sergeant major. She made it to command sergeant major,
Nice.
and she was sharp as a
You're
whip.
sharp.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. And so once you retired from being in the being in the military, not I know there's a difference in the military and reserve. So in my head, I'm thinking I'm bringing it all together,
No,
right?
well, it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
all the same.
And what did you do for a career outside of that?
Okay.
And
Okay, for a career, after I got off of active duty, because that was my career for 4 years,
okay.
being a military soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I started working for the Hartford Insurance Company. I had, I worked in I guess in a personnel type of field
Mm-hmm.
for a while. And then I worked at Webster Bank. I worked at Moore Medical and Otis Elevator. That was my last job. And in those capacities, I worked as quality assurance and as a, yeah, basically that's what it was. Otis Elevator, they called them engineer. I was a software test engineer.
Okay.
So I basically tested all of the applications that these companies had and things like that.
So being in the service, do you think it helped in your career outside, when you went to the Harvard or when you worked at Hartford, excuse me, and worked at Otis Elevator? Did that come into play, your training in the service?
Okay, what my training in the service did, it prepared me, I think, to be able to maneuver different things and situations. Okay, my mother also, she prepared me for the military. My mother was very strict, so
Okay.
what the drill sergeants put on me was
Was
nothing.
nothing.
You know, it was nothing at all. Because if you encountered my mother and her upbringing,
Good old
that was
Aunt
a
Ollie.
That was
that was a
nothing.
piece of cake.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
Yeah,
So you
Nice.
were prepared already.
right.
Okay.
But it did help me.
Okay.
I can't say that it didn't.
So I know that you say you don't look at or recruit younger men and women, but today, sitting here today, you would say what to them if they were thinking about going into the service? Good thing, bad thing, or
No, I don't think it's a bad thing. Okay. I would recommend that they research it. I'd first of all, I'd ask them, why are you going in?
okay,
Okay, if they're just going in for pay or just to get off the street, because I do hear that a lot of people do that. They don't know what to do and things like that, and then they just send them to the military. But if your heart isn't in it, and that's with anything,
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
you shouldn't embark on it, I don't think. But
Okay.
it was good to me. I have a pension afterwards. Um, I can't say anything really negative about it. You just have
That's
to have
good.
the mindset, for anything really.
Right.
I was going
Right.
to say, like you just said, for anything. But it's great to know or to hear your story in a way where, like you said, you went in, your mom prepared you for that, right? Because had she not prepared you for that and you didn't go to college and things like that, you might have been discouraged, about being there or anything like that. But at the same time, even with them not promoting you automatically with your degree, and then someone later on seeing that, hey, why aren't you, in a different class, right? And so once that happened, when you're looking and thinking and talking to some people would taken that as, all right, let me leave, or all right, or fought it. And it sounds like you didn't fight it. It sounds like you just went on about it, and then when somebody noticed, it was like, okay, they promoted you, and then you were in a different class and working at a different capacity. So what would you say to that person that, like you said, research and everything like that, but what would you say to that person that goes in and they feel like they're not being treated fairly, with, and another thing you mentioned earlier too is you didn't talk to people, you didn't tell people what to do, and you weren't, you had to put people in their place, but it wasn't in a way like a drill sergeant type of thing,
Right,
right?
to embarrass them
And
or
to embarrass
anything
them,
like
right?
that.
So, what would you tell that person that's thinking about the military? Do your research, yes, but what else would you tell them when it comes to facing some adversities when it comes to recruitment, or if someone's recruiting you, or if someone says to you, when I have a degree, so I should be in a different class, or whatever that is, what would you tell that person?
Well, at that time, we weren't sure. We were taking the recruiter at face value.
Okay.
I didn't know that at all. But my mother, she knew that. And he said that we don't do that anymore. And we just took it at face value. Okay. So, like I said, I would definitely have people to research it. Don't take things at face value anymore. I know things have changed since when I went in to now, because I was looking at some information online when I was asked to do this. I know now, if you go in with a degree, you go in as a E4 instead of an E3. I went in as an E3, private first class. Now you go in as a specialist, which is one pay grade higher. You know, and when I was going through basic training and all the preliminary things, people would see my record in my file, and they saw that I already had a degree, and they said, "Why didn't you come in as, a commissioned officer?" And I say, "I didn't know that I could. The guy
Yeah.
said that we couldn't, and blah blah blah." And this happened until I got out of basic training. I said, if one more person asks me that, I'm gonna put a sign on my back that says the recruiter said
Right,
that
right,
they don't
right.
do that
Right,
anymore.
right.
You know, I
Right.
was tired of answering that question. But, you know, things happen for a reason. I think I was a better officer because I was enlisted 1st. So I know their plight,
Okay.
okay? And I did have other enlisted people to tell me that as well. You know, like when we went away to training or something like that, and I was put in the barracks with the enlisted people. They all have to, before we leave, you have to clean the latrines, the bathrooms, and do certain work and stuff like that. And I'd go in and do my part, clean and stuff like that. And the sergeants, they'd say, "Ma'am, you don't have to do that. This is, enlisted people's work." But I said, "Didn't I use the bathroom? Didn't I use the sink?
Right.
You know, it's not going to hurt me to, help."
Right.
You know, everybody doesn't do that. They don't have to, but I just felt that, I needed to do that.
Right.
So,
Okay. All
So
right.
mentally, I know you said you talk about Aunt Ali knowing to question it, even though it was denied in the beginning. Her preparing you because Billy went, Warren went, your brothers. So maybe she had a little bit more knowledge than a normal mom or dad would have. Mentally, how did you stay focused once you were there?
okay, well, it really didn't bother me that much because I knew that I would have the opportunity to excel if that's what I wanted to do. And once I got off of active duty and I decided to stay in as a reserve soldier, then I got my opportunity. So I'm going to say that being enlisted really prepared me to be a better officer.
Okay.
You know?
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
I remember growing up hearing Susie's going away for the weekend. She's going. So to me, we're not that far apart, but you were my big cousin. And I just
Doing
felt so,
things.
I just felt like that's my big cousin. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's awesome. It's awesome just to hear your stories and read your bio. I don't know everything. You don't know everything about someone in your family, and you really have been doing a lot of things. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Kudos to you.
And right now, I still, do things with the military. I'm a member of the Veterans Memorial Committee here in Waterbury, Connecticut.
Okay.
And we meet once a month, and we have a big dinner, which I think I'll invite you to.
Yes.
You have to purchase tickets, though.
Okay.
We have a Veterans Memorial Dinner every year where we honor veterans. So,
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yes. Let us know.
yeah.
Let us know. Definitely.
All right. And so, what is it that you do now since you're retired?
What I want to do.
Look.
I tell you, I'm a lady of leisure. Yes, now, I
Travel.
always say I pay
travel.
my dues. Yes, and I have nieces and nephews that live in the South, and I go and visit them on a regular basis whenever I feel like it.
Yes.
And I
Can't
always
wait to grow up.
Yeah. I paid my dues. I can travel now,
Okay.
but it's a little scary now on those Boeing planes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This is
I
awesome.
know it was. This
Now-
is an awesome interview.
Yes.
I
And
am so proud of you.
it's so funny
Thank you.
because I don't know Susan. And
You've
I
never-
I know her to see her, to speak to her, but I never had a conversation with her. You know what I mean?
Do you know who? You don't know this, but I'm going to say this on air. Shirley, Billy.
Yeah.
This is his sister.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
all right. Never
Yep,
knew that.
yeah.
Now I know Mr. Billy. I remember him.
Yep.
Growing up. But I would see her all the time, in different,
Yeah,
and at
yeah.
TMEs and things like that. And
Yeah.
I just didn't know her, never had a conversation, just a hi and
Yeah,
bye. So this
yeah.
was awesome to learn some
Yeah.
things.
You don't remember, but you probably seen her out Pearl Lake too.
Probably. Yeah,
growing
yeah, I
up.
don't remember.
Yeah, it's
I
been a
used
long
to go
time.
there a lot, and I used to babysit my nephews.
Yeah. Yep,
Okay,
yep,
okay.
yep.
Yep. So that's what we did. Listen, that's what Tracy and I grew up and know each other from toddlers.
Yes.
Wow. So thank you for coming on. This
Yes,
was
we
great.
appreciate you
And
taking
I
your
hope
time.
that someone got some great tidbits from that is
Yes.
thinking about going into the military or have a child in school or after school? Because you can go into the military up to what age that you can start? Do you know?
I think 18. It used to be 17, but you had to have your parents' permission.
But then
I
you can
think it
go,
might be the same.
yeah, when
Not
you
sure.
graduate college, right? So even if that, because I know someone also that where their son graduated and was going for his PhD, and I believe the PhD grant or whatever, he decided, well, things weren't working out in the direction
Field?
that he was on,
Okay.
so he went straight into the military.
Okay.
And so I didn't know that that was possible at
Yeah, I think-
that old. I shouldn't
Not-
say
yeah.
it, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying
After
I
a
didn't-
certain age.
Yeah,
Yeah,
after a certain age, I
age.
didn't know that that
Mhm.
was possible, and he's doing amazing. He's traveling the world.
Yes.
I think they recruit a lot of kids right out of high school too.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so this is a great conversation
Yes,
either way,
definitely.
especially for those parents like you said that may not know that
What
the-
the options are.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely do your research, like Susan said. Don't take no for an answer.
Don't take no for an answer.
You know,
Yeah.
because hey, we
Right.
don't know what we don't know.
And ask all your questions.
Definitely.
Right.
And no question is a dumb question.
At all.
that's true.
No question is a dumb
At
question.
all.
So
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And comment. Let us know if you have someone that is thinking about going to the military, or if you
Yes.
are one that's thinking about going into the
Or
military.
you have additional questions on
Yeah,
anything that we
additional
discussed
questions.
today.
Put them in the comments. And like we said, like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you. How long did we